Okay. Welcome to the second episode of I'm Grown Now What? I'm Tyree Elaine. Um, this is the second episode that I'm ever doing of my podcast, the second installment. And I was incredibly nervous the very first episode. So this episode will be most likely shorter, but I definitely wrote a whole lot more. So I'm going to be reading so that it'll flow a little bit better. I wanted to be honest about how I felt the first time that I did the first episode of the podcast, which was a couple days ago. I was super duper nervous, and I mean to the point where my stomach was hurting. It felt like a ton of bricks was sitting on top of my head. I was stuttering, like I'm kind of sort of stuttering now, and I just felt really, really bad. Like it was like if you've ever felt so emotionally bad that it affected you physically, that's how I felt. And I was scared. I was incredibly scared. As soon as I got done, as soon as I was finished, I asked the engineer, like, how was that? Was that okay? Was that okay? It was just really, really, I was very unsure of the entire thing because I was telling my truth. And it's an incredibly vulnerable position to put yourself in to express your truth, especially when you've been brought up to believe that nobody gives a fuck about your truth, especially when it could possibly be offensive to others. So, I wanted to be honest about just my whole thought process when I left. I felt better after I got everything out on the first episode, but I was so tired. I was so tired. I was so drained. I went home and I went straight to sleep. And all I could think about was the thoughts that I had were, that was stupid. That was so stupid. You stupid. I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. But it wasn't really in my voice. It was in the voice of my family. And it was like I had this, fantasy, not fantasy, but you have a daydream or whatever where they were listening and that this bitch stupid, so fucking stupid, stupid, stupid. And I just immediately felt like, damn, maybe I should like re-record it or see if I can just maybe just trash this whole serious thing and go comedy, complete comedy, just have some comedians come and just do a regular podcast where we're bantering about comedy and just scrap this whole thing because I don't want to be stupid. And it's really crazy how even though you don't interact with somebody anymore, if you've interacted with them long enough, the shit is still in your mind. It's kind of like at the end of What's Love Got to Do with It, where Ike told Tina, like, you can't get away from me, I'm in here. And, pointing to his head, like, I'm still in your mind. And you really got to be careful how you talk to your children or how you talk to your family when they're kids or whatever, because the voice that you speak to your children becomes their inner voice when they get to be adults. Even if you don't have a relationship with your kids anymore. Like, I don't have a relationship with my family anymore, yet and still the shit that they've said to me over the course of 30 years is still affecting me. And I'm literally in the process of retraining my mind to think positively, and it's working. And I'm super grateful for the support that I have because I need it now more than ever. My first time coming to record this podcast, I came by myself, and now I have, friends who come with me and they support me and all that stuff. Before I came, they just kind of like sent me text messages and, very supportive. But I was like, yo, I think I need some help next time. So now I have friends with me who are here. And despite them being here, I'm still incredibly nervous. I am still going to obviously talk about what I had in mind for this particular episode, which is self confidence, this particular topic. But I want to be honest about the rabbit hole, like just how bad it got after I left a couple of days ago from recording episode one. And this is literally the rabbit hole. These are the negative ass thoughts that I had. I started thinking shit that I thought other people would say if they heard it. I started thinking immediately about all the negative things that people could possibly say or think about me if they heard it. So it started with just these slave to whatever other people think ass thoughts, and they sounded like, you're stupid, this is stupid, that bitch stupid, you should just record something funny, you supposed to be a comedian anyway, these people coming to your page or they come to your social media to see something funny. It was very like shut up and dribble, if that makes any sense. Then it went to, well, what if people think something's wrong with me because I don't fuck with my family? Like something must be wrong with you if you don't fuck with your family. Why they don't fuck with you? What did you do? What's wrong with you? Like I thought something was wrong with me. Then it went to, you know, oh, people, what if people go to my social media page to see unity and positivity and they see, all of this defensive, oh, cut off toxicity, da 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 stuff, and they just go, oh, I don't want to fuck with her no more. Just very, very, you know, attention was completely focused to what other people could possibly think. Just all these horrible, horrible thoughts about what people could, negatively think about me. And then it got to the point of this is where it ended. I said, what if some extra family oriented network exec sees or hears this podcast and says or thinks something horrible of me and they go, I'll never work with her because she's saying negative things about family and, family's supposed to be da 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 da, right? I know I'm saying da 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 a lot, but I think you guys understand what I mean. And please forgive me because I still am very nervous. I'm just kind of powering through. Right then when I had that thought about like, oh, what if a network exec, because that's a very, very specific, ridiculous ass thought. Right then I called somebody who I knew would be like, bitch, stop thinking those thoughts. I called my friend Audrey and she don't play that entertaining negative thinking shit. So she told me to think in this manner. I told her how I was like, oh, what if an executive thinks negatively of me because of the things that I'm saying about, cutting off toxic ties with family. And she said, well, what if a network exec hears this and relates and goes, I want a meeting with her? And I said, you know what? That's all I needed was something else to think because it felt like I was literally surrounded by negative thoughts and I couldn't stop. I didn't know how to, it was like whack-a-mole. I would think that I was over one and then two more would come up and I just felt like I needed help. I needed support. So, I'm super duper grateful for Audrey because at that moment I felt like the last piece of me that gave a fuck about other people's opinions had died. And even if that part of me is not dead, it's definitely on some man down shit where today I don't really care. I am still nervous because I'm human, but I'm still fucking going, talk my truth about how I feel and try to help people overcome things that they might be going through similar to what I went through and am still going through. So, this episode, like I said, is going to cover self-confidence, and if we have time, self-love as well, how I literally just started loving myself maybe 2 years ago. That also was around the same time I began to develop self-confidence, literally began to develop self-confidence because I was for sure a pushover the majority of my life. I didn't realize it because whatever, I had been doing this same thing and behaving in this same way for the majority of my life. I didn't think anything was wrong with it. It wasn't ridiculously impacting my life in any type of way. I didn't think, but it definitely was. I was 30 years old when I first used the phrase none of your business to somebody. Like I thought it was rude to say none of your business. I was raised truly to believe that I didn't have any business. And on the contrary, that others' business, quote unquote, was superior to any quote unquote business I had. And this podcast being a great example. One could think me, if you listen to the first episode, that was me telling family business. But it's my business. That was literally the environment that I was raised in. And I had to examine the environment in which I was raised in order to change certain things that I'm experiencing now as an adult. So, I think the reason why I was so physically sick when I did the first podcast is because when I was younger, and I mean like as young as I can remember, maybe 6, 7, 8, my mother used to scream her head off at me for quote unquote telling her business. And I don't mean going around like with a cigarette going, let me tell you what happened to so and so. I mean, for example, if I was a kid, I spent the night over at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother, my aunt, and cousins they all lived together at the time. I'd go over there to spend the night, and then my auntie would come home, and she wouldn't say this like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" But she'll be like, "Oh, Tyree, what are you doing here? Where's your mom?" And I'd be like, "Oh, she's at home." "Oh, who's over there?" And I would tell her, and then the next day, I'm in trouble, and I mean in trouble, trouble, because I told my mom's business, and I had no idea what the fuck business was. So there were other times as a kid when I thought I was just answering a question from an adult, from my aunt or my cousin or whomever, but again, it turned out I was telling my mom's business and I would get in trouble for it again. And it fucked me up. And I'm not sure if my mom meant to do this, but she instilled a fear in me that damn near paralyzed me. And I had no room. I felt like I had no room for error or even learning. And I remember getting in trouble over shit that I didn't even understand why I was getting in trouble. Like when I was in the second grade, I started wearing glasses. And maybe the first or second time I wore them to school, I forgot to bring them home and I left them on my desk. I didn't leave them like on a slide or no shit like that. It was on my desk with my books, with my stuff. And my mom had asked where they were, and I said, "Oh, I forgot them." And she whooped my ass. And I just remember being so scared to make a mistake. I think damn near I developed a complex of, just doing things perfectly, being so scared to make a mistake, so scared to make a mistake that I couldn't enjoy life. Imagine going to the park and being so scared that you're gonna trip and fall that you can't even enjoy running because you're so scared that you might trip and fall. So you just take it real easy. I was just really nervous all the time, and I know that sounds really stupid, but that was real. I had to be honest about where these feelings that I still have as an adult came from. And I felt like, if I ever made a mistake, that if I ever made a mistake that confirmed that I had a problem making decisions. You know what I'm saying? It made me have a complex about my ability to make a decision, so I wouldn't make a decision, or I would leave it up to somebody else, because I felt like if I made a mistake, whatever consequences there were, I deserved to get my ass whooped for leaving my glasses. How the fuck could you be so stupid for leaving your glasses and you're 7 or 8 years old and this is your first time wearing glasses? You're not, you're not used to them, whatever. And as a matter of fact, I remember when I was 20, I lived in this nice apartment complex with two other girls, and we had a secure parking garage that had surveillance and everything. And one night, somebody broke into the garage on some like stupid shit, like a spree type stuff. The person was in an Audi, a brand new Audi, and they smashed like half the cars in the garage's windows, one of which being mine, and they stole a small iPod that I had that I kept in the cup holder. And I told my mom, "Mom, somebody broke in my car and they stole my iPad. I'm sorry, my iPod." And the first thing she said was, "That's what you get for leaving it in the cup holder." And what the fuck could I say? Like, again, I'm so stupid for leaving it in the cup holder. Now, granted, I'm at my house in a garage, and who knows why I didn't bring it upstairs. Maybe I had other shit to bring upstairs. But I remember going back thinking, "Fuck, how could I be so stupid? How could I be so stupid for leaving it? This is what I get. This is my fault. It is my fault. I am stupid." And I believed her in that. I believed her, what she said, as far as you deserve that in every aspect of my life. So I felt like I deserved every negative thing that ever happened to me. I really believed, or I really thought that I was on the brink of not being shit. So I felt like as long as I got, stuff going on, I'm gonna be okay. But if not, if I drop the ball in one area, then bitch, you deserve it, or nigga, you deserve it. That's how I felt. Or that's what you get, so to speak. And I allowed other people to talk to me crazy for so many years, and I mean strangers, because my family talks to me crazy. And and my mindset was I'm not dead, dying, or bleeding from it. I never thought this behavior was abuse, especially, and this is the main reason why I'm doing this podcast, especially when all of my peers and friends, families talk to them like this too. Now I don't know if they still talk to, my friends, peers, whatever, like that now as adults, to the extent of how my family talks to me. But I knew growing up that this is just normal because everybody, they mama talk to them crazy. But this shit got more and more painful as I got older, because I wasn't sure how to speak up for myself, but I knew that I should, especially when it came to family. You know what I mean? I allowed it. And one of my friends, I remember, recently asked me, not in a judgmental way, but she just asked, "Why did you never like express to your family that this was serious, that the way that they spoke to you, it was seriously a detriment to your mental health? Like, why didn't you really, really tell them, like, for real, this is fucking me up?" And my response was, they would just call me stupid or sensitive like they have in the past. I've cried because they were yelling at me, "Oh, she's sensitive. Just let her go. Oh, she gonna cry," like that. And I thought everybody family was like that. I thought then maybe something is wrong with me. Why am I crying? I must be weak. All this negative shit about myself. And another big reason why I never spoke up for myself in regard to defending myself against my family is because I felt like I didn't want to be alone. I felt like that's all I had. You know, my family. If something happened, and this is who I have. This is who I have to depend on. And I figured it's better to have a dysfunctional family than no family at all. But that is the exact same reason why I stayed in a toxic relationship for 10 years, because I felt like it's better to have a nigga that treat me like trash than no nigga at all. And I was a pro at dealing with abuse and I mean from a kid to an adult. When I was like 10 or 11, I remember I used to draw little outfits. Like, excuse me, I used to want to be a fashion designer. And I did. I went to fashion or fashion design art school right after high school. But when I was like a kid, I'd be at my grandmother's house and I would draw on, pieces of paper she would give me. And I remember I drew about 8 or 9 outfits on 8 or 9 different sheets of paper. And I remember giving them to my cousin to look at. And I remember her baby daddy was there. And my cousin was standing up and her baby daddy was standing behind her. And she was looking at the outfits. And if she liked the outfit, she would put one of the pieces of paper behind the other, like a stack. Like, oh, okay, this one she'll put it behind. But if she didn't like one, she would say, "Oh, I don't like this one," and then like throw it on the floor. And I remember my cousin's baby daddy looked at me like I was supposed to say something like, "You're not gonna say nothing?" And I'm a kid at this point, but it was then that I knew shit. There was like something in me that's like, yo, say something. But I loved my cousin. Like, and I didn't want her to be mad at me. So I didn't want to speak up for myself because I didn't want her to be mad at me. I didn't want to run the risk. First of all, I didn't even know how. I wouldn't have even known what to say. Like, oh, that's like, why did you do that? I just let her fucking throw my pieces of paper with my drawings on the floor and just like kind of took it in. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It was like a part of me going, Tyree, it's okay. This is your cousin. You love her. She loves you. Just deal with it. It's okay if it hurts. There was that. And I didn't want to run the risk, like I said, of upsetting my cousin. Fast forward to me being 27 or 28. I'm living in the Valley, my first apartment, no roommates. I'm working in LA, going to school at night at Dominguez, which is in Compton, and I'm fucking tired. Basically. So one night I came home from school. It's like 10:30 at night. I had been out the house since 7, up since 6, nigga. I crashed with the lights on, damn near fully dressed, and I woke up at like maybe midnight or 1 in the morning to 5 missed calls from my mom and a gang of text messages talking about, I know you saw the phone ring and you just ignored me. This could be an emergency. You know what? I want my house keys back tomorrow because you're so disrespectful and you're so this, you're so that. And I called her, I'm still half asleep, but I called her immediately and I'm like, what's wrong? She goes very calmly, nothing. I want my house keys back. And I'm like, well, what's happened? What is going on? What's wrong? Well, nothing's wrong, but something could have been, and you didn't even answer your phone. Why didn't you answer your phone? And I'm like, my ringer was off. I was asleep. Well, why wasn't your ringer on? Your ringer needs to be on. I said, I just came from school where the ringer has to be off. I didn't even have time to take my clothes off. I don't want to hear it. I just want my keys back. So the next day, I gave her her keys back. A few weeks later, no apology. Like I said on the first one, she just gave me the keys back and asked me if I wanted something to eat. And that's why, when she, like I was saying on the first episode, blocked me on Facebook this time last year, I didn't think anything of it because she had done this in the past, and I was just taking it as, well, this is just how she is, and it's okay if I'm hurt. It's okay, whatever. I'm okay, whatever. That shit hurt that she wanted her house keys back because I didn't answer the phone. And what's crazy is the thought never occurred to me to tell my mom, because it's my phone and I didn't want the ringer on because I'm tired. Like, if it was an emergency, first of all, it wasn't an emergency. So why are you on some fire drill shit? If it was an emergency, why wouldn't you call 911? And why are you treating me like I'm your dude? Like, oh, I know you saw the phone ring. That stuff I would say to a dude that I'm seeing. And that was the furthest thing from my mind, but it was the most logical thing for me to say to anybody else who would have called me with some shit like that. But because it was my mom, I just took that shit. I just took that shit. But in real life, I probably wouldn't have said it to a stranger because my mom had trained me to talk to just answer questions. That's why I said when I was 30, that was the first time I ever said it's none of your business. I would just tell people stuff, just no type of, confidence in myself. I just wanted people to like me at the cost of my self-worth, pretty much. And, you know, the biggest lesson I learned in that was, and just even thinking about that was, I didn't stand up to myself with my mom in situations like that because at the time I really thought standing up for myself was rude and hurtful. A small part of me apparently still do or still did because first episode I'm speaking about the fact that I had to block my mom for calling me jealous after I told her someone she was dating walked in on me in the shower at 9 years old. I didn't cuss her out. I didn't argue. I just blocked her so I could heal from that. But the rest of my family, excluding my uncle, said that that was selfish, disrespectful, and hurtful. Literally, me doing nothing but isolating myself from my own mental health was hurtful to someone else. And that's when I was realizing, oh, they crazy. Okay, this is wild as fuck. I can't believe this shit is happening to me. This is some shit that you would see on like TV One or whatever, but this shit is really happening to me. I can't believe it. And even like recently, my 33rd birthday, which was about a month ago, I had a birthday party, and my cousin, who I was at the time cool with, called me at 7 in the morning, and then again at some point during the day. But she never texted happy birthday. I'm assuming she wanted to call to say happy birthday, but it was my birthday, and I didn't feel like talking to nobody. What was I doing on my birthday during the day? Smoking a thick ass blunt, eating bacon, drinking champagne, chilling, watching TV until it was time to get dressed for my party. That's what I was doing. But because I didn't answer the phone, you know what I mean? My phone that I paid the bill on, when I can, I was rude or disrespectful or fucked up. A few days later, that cousin texts me and tells me, I called you on your birthday and you didn't answer. And I said, oh, thank you. Like I did to everybody else who texted me happy birthday. Shortly after that, she sent me this long text about how she done with me too, whatever. I can't believe you gave me that dry ass thank you when and then you didn't answer when I called you. And I'm just thinking it's my phone. And I think she's brainwashed into believing that I have to answer the phone if it's a blood relative or something. I don't know. Anyway, she also said that she was hurt because I didn't invite her to my birthday. As if she's ever invited me to any party that she's ever had, even if she didn't. I'm sorry, even if she did invite me to her birthday parties, it's my party. I shouldn't feel bad about inviting somebody who I didn't necessarily want there. Like, why do I have to, be cautious about other people's feelings at for the exchange of my happiness? I wouldn't have been happy if she was there. That's just the bottom line. But because I could hurt somebody's feelings, I have to. I hope this makes sense. I have to invite somebody who I don't want to be there because if I don't, that's gonna hurt their feelings. But then if they're there, my feelings are gonna be hurt. But that's kind of sort of how they raised me to give a fuck about everybody else's feelings, but and then mine if there's time. I can't really fault her because that's how they were for a long time. You know what I mean? They used to have just this control over me, and I'm sure it sucks because now they don't. Like nobody has control over me. I don't need to be controlled. And for the first time, I'm controlling myself. This shit feel good. And I'm not moved by the hurt feelings of anybody anymore if it's me doing something for myself. If it's me doing something for my self-help. My self-help, for my mental health. And literally that type of manipulation, it makes me physically sick. I remember when I first cut my hair, I went natural. I realized that I didn't have the head for natural, for short natural hair. So my aunt started doing full head weaves on me. So she did my weaves, maybe about 6 or 7 months. And then one day, the girl who would braid my track, she went back to school and some random chick braided the track. I couldn't remember who did it, but it was a new chick. She braided that shit way too tight. And I had to take the weave out 3 days later. Now, when I took the weave out, that was my first time really seeing my natural hair virgin as an adult. And I was so excited it. It wasn't crazy long, but it was thick and it was healthy. And I just was like, yo, when I'm able to put this in a ponytail, it'll be really nice. And I started taking pictures. Oh, I'd use this Cantu or whatever, all these natural hair care products. But I started out I posted a picture to Instagram of my natural hair, and the beginning of the caption said had a mild weave malfunction, but wow, look at my hair. It's this, it's that. This is my first time seeing my natural hair. I'm gonna try to take care of it and make it grow. I know it's short right now, but it's at least it's long enough for me to like comb and wear in styles and shit like that. My mom called and said, you know, my mom called and said, you need to delete that picture because it might hurt your aunt's feelings. And I'm like, how? She goes, well, you said it was a mild weave malfunction. People might think that she did something to the weave or she doesn't know what she's doing. So I think you should just delete that picture. And this was before you could go back and edit stuff on Instagram. But I just was thinking that wasn't even the point. That was what had a mild weave malfunction. That's what a few words versus a paragraph about how happy I am to embrace my natural hair pattern. No, it's gonna hurt her feelings. If you wanna run the risk of hurting her feelings, keep that picture up. And what the fuck did I do? Took the picture down. Took the picture down because because I didn't want to took this picture down of something I was proud of because I didn't want to run the risk of hurting somebody else's feelings. And you know, I honestly don't know where this newfound sense of putting my own feelings first came from, despite her feelings or being labeled selfish or rude came from, but I'm glad it's here because even just repeating that shit, it just make me sound like a bitch, a grade A pussy. Like, I mean, that's how you would describe like a weak ass man, but that's like how I feel, like just no kind of backbone. And this confidence that I developed and am continuing to develop, I truly believe came from a place of being tired of being on the bottom, tired of being last, tired of being not unheard, just fucking tired of caring about others and nobody giving a fuck about me. So now I surround myself with confident, happy, successful people who can uplift me and and suggest and encourage me to do what's best for me and not for them. They don't need me to do anything. They literally are all my friends, all the people who are in my life right now surrounding me are self-sufficient. So they can, continue to support and encourage me in the area of self-love and self-worth and self-growth and self-happiness, just all this self shit because they don't need me. They got themselves. So they're teaching me how to be successful like them, teaching me how to be happy like them. And it's refreshing as fuck. And there were things that I really did to trust myself. And I think it started with me moving out of my ex's house. It was, my when I moved out of my ex's house in 2000 and I want to say maybe 17 or 18, that was my first time having my own place without a 9 to 5. And I had to trust that I had what it took to support myself financially with my own gifts and talents. And there were times that I cried, screamed, and struggled, and then just to cry myself to sleep, get up, go to the mailbox, and find a check for exactly the amount of money that I needed to pay a particular bill. And things began to get easier and easier for me the more and more honest I became with myself, the more authentic I was with myself. I felt better when I felt myself. And it was honestly like I was meeting a whole new woman. I was saying shit that I ain't never heard myself say, doing shit I ain't never did. I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? I like her. It was like I was giving birth to a whole new woman, but I have to care for her. And caring for her, caring is not even really like a caring it sounds too negative. It's fun. It's like I'm putting all this love into this new woman who's loving me back. It's a very weird way to describe it, but it's the best way that the most I guess vivid way I can describe it. And I know it's crazy for me to be going through this type of shit at 31, 32, but this is the beginning of my prime. And I'm so excited to actually be able to live and enjoy life. I was not enjoying my life before this. I was just going through the motions, living vicariously through other people, loving myself vicariously through other people. And everybody was proud of me. I had a good job working with kids, working towards getting my degree. I had a little car, had a little apartment, had my little church friends, had my little boyfriend, and was miserable as fuck. Everybody, they looked at me like I had these things that you're supposed to have or whatever, but I hated myself. I hated my life. It began to get to a point where things that used to make me laugh out loud, I would watch it and I would understand it to be funny, but I wouldn't laugh. My favorite foods, I would go get it and it would not taste like nothing. Like I would taste it, but it wouldn't hit the spot. Nothing was making me happy. I was depressed. I just didn't know how to identify it. And even though I don't have the things that I thought I would have by now at this age, I am so proud of the woman that I am. I love this woman that I am. I'm so blessed that I get to be Tyree Elaine in this lifetime. But the crazy thing about it is, if you're in my life right now, if you're really close to me, you know that I make you feel that way about yourself if you already don't. Like I have friends who all this shit that I'm saying about myself, I'm making them see that same shit in themselves. Cause it's like you are great. Oh my gosh, the love, the loving or lovely or wonderful things that I see in myself, I can see in other people, and I go, hey, look at yourself. You're great. Because I can look in the mirror and see the greatness in me. I can see the greatness in other people. And I really feel for motherfuckers who's not in my life anymore because they don't get to have this newfound love. Because the love that I was giving them before, completely manipulative, completely, unhealthy, completely codependent. Now I love me, then I love you, and the love that I give you now, it's great because it's love that teaches you how to love yourself as well. And I'm not surrounded by a whole ass load of people, but the people that I do have in my life, these relationships are great. They're wonderful. And they're not even perfect. They're just dope. And at this point, that was the end of my notes. And I'm glad that I left off at that point because it was a positive note. I wanted to the last episode left off on such a, it is what it is type note. This I wanted to end on more of a positive, just hey, I made it out type of thing. And the next episode, I want to talk about ways that I do self-care, what self-care looks like for me. It's not just, bubble baths and champagne glasses or whatever. Sometimes it's saying no and not being worried about somebody being mad about saying no. I mean, my friendships was the bullshit. I remember I had a friend. This is the last story I'll say before I go. But I remember I had a friend who had a birthday party and I told her I would go. And then around the time that it was time for me to actually go, I realized that I had finals coming up and I had to go to work, early, and somebody was going to be calling out. So I had to go earlier than early and I really needed to go to sleep. I remember my eye was hurting. I had a really, really bad headache and one of my eyes was hurting. And I called her and I told her and she didn't give a fuck. I wanted people here. And it was like a gang of people that was gonna be at her party, but she just wanted more and more people, and she didn't give a fuck about my health. She just wanted me to come to her party. And the first thing she said was, "Well, I came to your party," and I'm like, "Well, damn. Had I known it was gonna cost me my health, I'd have said, bitch, don't come." That was how that was literally my relationships with my family bleeding into relationships with friends and bleeding into relationships at work, bleeding into relationships, romantic relationships. And I couldn't even see it because I never questioned that it was wrong with my family. It all started like there. And once again, I'll say I love my family, but we are not, the reason why we're not speaking right now is because they don't think anything is wrong with the way that they treated me growing up. They felt like, well, bitch, you got a job, you're not dying, dead, or bleeding. So this mental health shit it's like, what the fuck? Get over it. Get over it. Cry, get over it. We're still your family. Who cares? Get over it. So what that tells me is that you're probably not going to stop the behavior. Like, I know that there's nothing you can do about shit that happened in the past, but what you can do is go, hey, I didn't like that, and you're still doing it. Can you stop? Oh, yeah, I can stop. That's something that hopefully other people who may be in my same situation can have with family or friends or whatever before they just completely cut them off. But you do need to realize that cutting somebody off is an option so that you too can live a happy life loving yourself, starting with you, starting with you. There are so many beautiful people in the world, and it's so sad when they can't see it, when they can't see the beauty in their own spirits, and they have to this is really stupid. But when I was a teenager, or when I was like a young woman or young adult, I would go to the club with my homegirl, and we would go to these ghetto ass clubs, and I remember guys would come up to us and say, you know, y'all the baddest bitches and y'all the baddest ones here, y'all the baddest ones. And I would take that to mean, oh, okay, then I am. Then when I started going to the clubs at Hollywood, where it's inundated with bad bitches, if a dude didn't tell me that I was the cutest one in the club or wasn't all up on me, I wouldn't think that I was beautiful. And I would go in the bathroom and be like, okay, well, let me change my hair, and then go back out and go, hey, am I beautiful now? Is somebody gonna tell me I'm the baddest one in the club now? No? Okay, cool. Let me go back and, maybe hike my skirt up. Okay, what about now? You can see a little bit of my ass now. What about now? No? Okay, let me try this. It was like I was only beautiful if a nigga told me I was beautiful. And I didn't even see that that was super mental abuse that I was doing to myself. And on the next episode, I will, like I said, go over some more detailed ways that I myself have self care, and how I feed into self confidence, because I am learning, and I am an adult, and I do get it wrong sometimes, and it is okay. And even that in and of itself, me saying I do get it wrong sometimes and it's okay, that is a huge jump compared to, what I said, that what I told you guys about how I grew up, where it was like no room for mistake. And if there was a mistake, bitch, you deserve whatever happened, whatever you have coming to you. Now it's like, you know what? It's okay. You're okay. I treat myself like the little girl that I was, that didn't have anybody to tell her that it's okay. If you mess up, that you'll learn and you'll do better next time. I have to be that for me now. And it's okay if you have to do that for yourself too. It's okay if you fuck up. It's okay if you you know, make a wrong choice. It's okay. You got life. You're here. You can make a better choice or make a different choice. You can always make a choice to enjoy your life. I love you, and I hope you love yourself. And tune in next week for the third episode or installment of I'm Grown Now What. Thanks.